There are places on this earth where people rarely tread, not because they're remote, but because they're dangerous. Take the deep, southern forests of the United States, for example. Here, wild boars don't just trample crops and destroy gardens. They attack livestock. They cause hundreds of road accidents every year. They put lives at risk. And we came here not for adventure, but to confront these beasts head-on, deep in the wilderness, where even a tiny mistake might mean no second chance. Curious yet? It's time to follow us into the storm and find out who the real hunters are in this brutal encounter. We began our journey along a snowy mountainside, each step sinking deep into the frozen earth. The air was razor sharp. Every few minutes we stopped, checking weapons, wiping down scopes, making sure our radios didn't freeze. Everyone was on high alert. Out here, even one moment of distraction could flip the situation in an instant. While moving uphill, we suddenly spotted a group of wild boars slowly trudging through the blizzard. I locked onto the massive alpha leading the herd. My breath rose in a cloud as I steadied my aim. The gunshot cracked through the white silence. Direct hit. The beast tumbled down the slope and lay still in the snow. The rest of the herd scattered in panic, crashing through the trees and breaking the deathly calm of the mountain. We couldn't let them escape. We pressed on. Their hoof prints in the snow led straight up the mountain ridge. 10 minutes into the chase, we spotted them again, moving single file through the fog. I dropped low, raised my rifle, and focused through the fogged-up glass. The shot thundered through the air. One more beast dropped instantly. The rest, gone in a flash, vanishing into the wilderness. At the same time, on the other side of the ridge, one of my teammates was waiting in ambush. A massive boar charged straight at him, snow exploding beneath its hooves. He didn't flinch, raised his rifle, took aim. Boom. Clean shot. The beast slid across the icy ground and collapsed, lifeless. After clearing the ridge, we found a fresh trail leading down into the forest below. Without hesitation, we regrouped, checked ammo, and made our way down the frozen slope. The forest was dead silent, blanketed in white. Then movement. A shadow darted between the trees. A wild boar running fast through the snow. I lifted my rifle in silence, aimed, fired. The echo rang sharp through the woods. The boar dropped on the spot, its heavy body sinking into the snow. Meanwhile, at Ben's position, one of our team's veteran marksmen, the forest exploded with barking. His dogs had cornered another boar, one trying to scramble up a rock wall and across a frozen creek. Ben didn't wait. He dashed forward, leveled his rifle, and squeezed the trigger. The bullet slammed into its side. The beast collapsed, slid down the icy rocks, and came to a stop in the freezing creek bed. Dusk began to fall. We decided it was time to head back before darkness consumed the forest. But just as we turned, a blur of motion. A boar sprinted past, cutting through the brittle brush, in a desperate escape attempt. I spun on instinct, raised my weapon, and fired. Direct hit. The bullet struck its back. The beast jerked once, then collapsed into the snow. Silence returned.
Attention là-haut à gauche, 2 bons à tirer à gauche.
A flawless end to an unforgiving hunt in a frozen wilderness. Every single shot was taken legally within the permitted boundaries of this region's hunting laws.
The short days in Greece have given me countless unforgettable experiences. One of them is the wild boar hunting trip in the Erymanthus Mountains in the freezing winter. Here, natural predators are becoming increasingly rare, causing the wild boar population to grow uncontrollably. I, along with a few friends, set out on this hunting trip. From this experience, I understood why the Greeks still keep the tradition of wild boar hunting as an integral part of their life. After a simple breakfast, we sat in a familiar vehicle and headed towards the Erymanthus Mountains in western Peloponnese. It was the wild boar mating season, so they were moving around more, providing favorable conditions for hunting. Thanks to the snow, we could easily track the boars' whereabouts. I closely followed their tracks, moving quickly as a feeling told me the prey was very near. And sure enough, a dark shape came rushing down from the opposite mountain slope. I fired in time, one clean shot. The boar fell and slid down the slope. However, I moved closer and fired another shot because, in the forest, certainty is always the most reliable companion. Not far from me, Gilbert was also in position, continuously firing when a whole herd of wild boars appeared unexpectedly. However, the boars weren't easy to handle. They ran like the wind, weaving through thick tree trunks in a maze-like manner. Even though Gilbert tried to stay close, it was really difficult to aim under these conditions, and in the blink of an eye, the entire herd vanished from sight as quickly as they had appeared. After about half an hour of moving, we had reached near the summit of the mountain. While still on the move, Gilbert and I noticed unusual movements from the trees beside us. Hunting instinct urged me to immediately raise my rifle and squeeze the trigger before the wild boar disappeared into the brush. And with just one shot, the target was neatly taken down. A quick, efficient shot, just the way I like it. Upon reaching the mountaintop, the air became even colder, and the snow beneath our feet grew thicker, but the sound of barking dogs echoed like a reminder that we couldn't stop. In the blink of an eye, a dark figure suddenly appeared. Gilbert steadied his rifle and fired a decisive shot. With the close distance, this time the boar couldn't escape. The race with the wild boars became more intense than ever before. Seizing every moment and every opportunity, we continued our hunt that afternoon. The hounds remained by our side, helping the team locate new targets. The snowstorm thickened, and we had to move down for safety. We set up a temporary small tent, and I sat waiting for my teammates to return. While sitting alone in the silence, the sound of the hounds and gunshots from afar woke me up to immediately raise my rifle. I aimed and fired decisively. The boar collapsed in the midst of the heavy snowfall. I had completed an unexpected hunt. The rain stopped, and under the gloomy sky, I still pressed on, looking for the last targets of the day. Hiding behind some wild branches, I silently observed the wild boar's movements. Waiting for it to reach the right position, I gently raised my rifle and took a decisive shot to end the chase. After the shot rang out, the wild boar fell, marking the end of this challenging hunting trip. The challenges we faced throughout the journey were not only about hunting, but also lessons in patience and determination. Thank you for joining us on this trip. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.
Temperature in the forest was steadily dropping, snow was falling, and the biting cold wind seemed to cut through the skin, as if trying to block our steps. But no one gave up. Because this was one of the journeys we had been looking forward to most of the year, the challenging winter wild boar hunt. Our hunting team is very large, with dozens of people. Most are locals, and a few come from other places. Our common goal is to hunt as many wild boars as possible. However, operating on thick snow during winter is not easy. Wild boars in Canada this season are very alert and cautious, slower, but more ferocious and tougher than ever before. Every step in the snow made a crisp crackling sound. We tried not to make loud noises. As we moved, we searched for wild boar tracks. We discovered deep footprints in the snow, larger than an adult's palm, definitely a herd of wild boars. I looked up toward the distance. In the shadow of the trees, I heard dry branches snap. Many large, dark shapes slowly appeared. My heart pounded. They were a herd of dozens of wild boars, busily foraging, seemingly unaware of the approaching danger. We quietly moved closer to the herd's position, trying not to make a sound. Once in a safe spot, we gripped our guns tightly and aimed carefully at the vital points to take down the prey as quickly as possible. A gunshot echoed through the quiet forest. The bullet struck its body. The boar collapsed into the snow, struggling. Not just one wild boar fell, but two one-eye shot, and another Paul took down. Around noon, we moved up a mountain. Here we found some herds of wild boars feeding, small groups of about 3 to 5 wild boars, some larger groups. We focused on locating them through the scope, aiming for the head or chest of the animal, as that would kill it the fastest. On the high hill, gunshots rang out continuously. Probably hearing the gunfire, the boar scattered and ran deeper into the forest. By early afternoon, Team 3 reported that they spotted a mature herd of wild boars moving southward in the forest. If we didn't keep up, we would lose their trail. We immediately tightened our formation and gave chase. The snow grew thicker, and the wind whipped against our faces like knives. Falling snow limited our visibility, making it difficult to hit the target. During the wild boar hunt in the snowy forest, visibility and experience are the most important factors. You can miss giant prey and even face hidden dangers without experience and skills. We are lucky to have learned from experienced hunters in the area, so every hunt is carefully prepared. After the wild boars are hunted, we gather and transport them to the collection point. Winter helps preserve the meat longer, so most of it is sent to processing plants. The boar meat is processed into wild game meat and consumed locally. The winter wild boar hunt in Canada is not for the faint-hearted. Snow, cold, and wild animals with killer instincts demand absolute precision, every shot, every step. But it is precisely those heart-pounding moments that make us feel truly alive, amid the harsh nature, amid survival challenges. Today's video ends here. How do you feel about today's video? We hope it brought you an interesting topic. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Forests of East Texas, where pure white snow blankets every thorny branch, transform the wild land into a frozen labyrinth shrouded in bone-chilling cold. Endless blizzards pile thick ice upon the ground, erasing all traces, while howling winds sweep through the thickets, making the air tremble with menace. Wild boars roam through the frozen earth and leaving behind scarred snowy trails as a ruthless challenge. Join us as we embark on this thrilling hunt. The bone-chilling cold of East Texas forest bites through every inch of skin, where white snow blankets the thorny bushes, turning each breath into a misty cloud in the freezing air. The wind howls through the treetops like the screams of death, while the ice beneath my feet cracks threateningly, ready to swallow every step. With a cold hunting rifle in hand, I silently push through the snowy maze, tracking the trails of those monstrous beasts. Suddenly, from the darkness of the deep forest, a pack of wild boars, vicious beasts with tusks as sharp as blades, burst through the snow, churning it up like a raging storm. Their roars echoed through the woods, as if challenging nature itself. I raised my rifle and took precise aim at the savage horde. The first shot tore through the forest, striking down the lead boar. But the distance was considerable, and the following rounds missed, giving the others a chance to flee. They weaved through the trees, vanishing into the blinding snow. The barrel still hot in my hands, I knew this battle was far from over. Join us as we continue the hunt for the remaining beasts. In a place where white snow blanketed the thorny bushes, the hunting dogs tracked the prints left on the snowy ground. Soon after, they caught the target's scent and barked loudly to signal its location. The moment I saw the boar darting between tree trunks, I quickly raised my rifle. Eyes locked on its path through the chaotic forest. A single shot tore through the air, and the boar dropped instantly. In the forests of East Texas, a thick layer of snow blanketed the dense canopy, turning each step into a slippery challenge and making movement anything but easy. My binoculars became an invaluable ally, allowing me to scan every hidden corner within the thorny brush. Suddenly, a herd of wild boars burst through the trees. I raised my rifle. One precise shot brought down the boar in the middle. Without pause, I took aim again and managed to shoot 2 more. Each one collapsed onto the frozen ground, while the rest of the herd vanished into the icy mist. In another corner of the East Texas forest, my teammate fired a shot that sliced through the air just as a wild boar casually wandered into view. The beast collapsed instantly. There's no chance of escape. Snow blanketed the thorny thickets, while the hound's fierce barks tore through the frozen air. The wild boars crashed through the dense brush, trying to escape, but unknowingly charged straight toward me. My hunting rifle was ready, and my eyes locked onto their movement. The first shot rang out, but unfortunately missed, only sending them into a frenzy. Without hesitation, I adjusted my aim and pulled the trigger again. The second shot echoed through the forest, and the last boar in the group dropped, just as I had hoped. We didn't give up. We continued tracking the last remaining boars. As soon as we got close, I quickly aimed my rifle, finger ready on the trigger. Then, bang! One final shot took down a wild boar. The brutal hunt in the snowy forests of East Texas had come to an end. Thank you for joining us in this icy showdown against these savage beasts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay with us for more intense hunts ahead.